So 1 Thessalonians 5. 5 and 7. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet the hope of salvation. For the Most High hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Yeah, so basically, for the 144,001 third, we've been set up, for for mercy to be had on us, for us to basically receive the reward with Yahushua. And that's that salvation, which is, us basically being freed from being in a state where this destroyed state underneath Esau, where Esau's basically, he's got the power over us, to slay us, to do whatever. But as well for, the reward of salvation, man. When we get perfected, we get those new bodies, basically won't be capable of sin anymore, man. We're going to be perfectly righteous. The laws will be on our inward parts. So then, we're gonna have that. Hey, it's gonna be finally, that perfected state, man, which has not been we've not been able to achieve. The closest one who came the closest was Yahushua, which when he came to Yahushua, he didn't sin. Was that perfect sacrifice? But then, hey, for us, we're gonna receive that when Yahushua makes his return, man. So Joel 3 and 1. For behold, For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat. So it's captivity of Jake. We're in that present time, which it's I don't know, it's like any Jake thinking they're free out here under Esau's system. I don't know what, I don't know what to tell you, man. Because it's it should be plain and clear to you, just over the course of the last year alone, how much race has been an issue, a point of contention, and Jake being in America still, in Europe as well, and basically, still having racial tensions, man. That already lets you know. These, Jake ain't loved out here, man. We'll read this. Hosea 8 and 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. So Jake is that vessel where there's no pleasure, man. Among the heathen, no one out here is looking out for you. No one out here really gives a fuck, man. And that's something that the Lord has basically made clear multiple times throughout the scriptures, man, throughout history. The Lord's let you know, like, hey, look, man, these heathen that you were so attached to, you so clung on to, these guys don't care about you. These guys don't have your interests at heart. These guys are your enemies. And that's been clear. You go through Judges, you go through all throughout the scriptures. There's no point where the heathen are buddy with Jake, man. Now Jake has gone up and tried to be friendly with the heathen, but then what? These guys, the Lord's basically just been like, okay, look, since you love them, you love their gods, then the Lord will just have them have power over Jake and fuck them over. And that's real plain. That's clear. But the Lord's made it like it's you guys aren't like, man. And that's something Jake have trouble coming to terms with, man. Jake don't want to come to terms with the fact that they're basically just out here, not liked. But then, hey, the Lord is there, man. Yahweh Shai is there. Yahweh Shai, he cares for all these sheep, man. Those are the elect will wake up and come back to him and be like, okay, yeah, Yahweh Shai is there, and they'll come back, man. They'll hear the word, will resonate with them. The Spirit will do its work, and they'll wake up, man. But for the vast majority of Jake, they're basically gonna stay clinging on to especially to the so-called white man. For some reason, like a lot of Jake, as soon as you told them the truth, they just think like, okay, but what about white people though? I'm like, what the hell kind of programming is that, man? I don't know, like, if I was to tell white people they're gonna be saved, you know, they've been chosen. They ain't gonna be thinking like, okay, what about the blacks? These guys ain't your friends, man. But hey, Jake's simple as hell, man. We get okay, I'll look for this one, but why is it? No, it's Israel 7. Trimmer style one here. 5? Jeremiah 2:33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore thou also taught the wicked one thy ways. Yeah. Why trim your ways to find love? And that's what Jake's really done. Jake out here doing all kinds of shit that ain't really theirs, man. You got Jake all up in Egypt, getting all into Egyptology, going into thinking that there's some form of power in that. And the thing is basically just, it shows with this what do you call it, man? The Negro solstice, man. That black solstice, when all these Jake are talking about how they're gonna get spiritual powers on the 21st of December. I'm like, bro, you man don't even realize that like solstices, that's like you're stepping into the realm of witchcraft then. Which that's what all these ancient Hamitic nations, these guys were at the pinnacle of that, man. You deal with the Magi's in Egypt, in what the fuck is it called, man? Samaria? That's Babylon. It was the fucking Chaldees, man. You know, you go back through history, these Hamites were getting all into witchcraft, man. All into all kinds of funky, what's the word I'm looking for, man? All kinds of funky ordinances and observations, man. All kinds of witchcraft. You know what? It's a word I'm looking for, man. Let me just find it. So, sorceries, enchantments, all these different things, man. It's basically all different forms of witchcraft, man, and observations of wickedness, man. It's getting into the left-hand side. Which, if you're getting into the left-hand side, that's not Jake's domain, man. Jake's domain hasn't ever been on the left-hand side, but they've always aspired towards it, man. And that's your own downfall, man. Your own detriment. Because if you're sitting there thinking, rah, all you hear is some December 21st shit, and it's you're not even discerned enough to realize like what channels that's in. But that's Jake. I remember there was one girl I used to work with. She told me she went to like it was either witches a class or get together or something for witches, a kind of lesson. And then she said there was a black couple there. So there was a black couple there at the get together, and these guys were just trying to make it like as as Afrocentric as possible. Like the whole time they were there, man, they were just like, oh yeah, you know, there's a lot of black history of witchcraft and that. I'm like, bro, you guys are just completely lost, man. That's what, and that's what hell these black women get into, man. That what the fuck is it called, man? Star signs. That star sign shit, at astrology. These black women get all into it, man. But oh yeah, you know, that Taurus moon, all these kinds of things. Like, oh sorry, I can't fuck with Scorpios. All that shit. That's like you're getting into channels that really ain't you got no business being in. But that's how simple and you know, basically disconnected Jake are, man. Jake don't know what the hell's going on. They're getting into any and every channel from which they can try and find some form of, you know, basically try and find some way where they can feel either empowered or like, you know, try and make the heathen find them more appealing, man. That's why, bro, you find Jake in every religion under the sun, man. Now the thing is Esau will get into everything under the sun, but this guy's always been a thief, man. This guy goes around nabbing up all kinds of cultures, getting into everything, and basically, you know, plastering his image all over it, man. And then he'll start a cult. Okay, so I got that. What was the other one I was gonna grab? No, I forgot. Okay. So back in Joel 3. So Joel 3 and 3, it says, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yeah, them lots. That's a thing Esau likes to try and forget, man. Whenever you bring up slavery, they always say, oh, it wasn't me, it was my great-grandparents, or blah, blah, blah. It was, you know, it was hundreds of years ago. Can't you guys, you know, let that shit go? And it's funny, because it's like you start looking into shit from like the 50s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It's like, you know, Jake getting fucked over by Esau. It's a story that never ended, man. We're still very much within it, man. And this is something that Jake don't even want to deal with, man. It's like I'm like, man, I can't remember what documentary. Oh, I think it was Small Axe on BBC. You can watch it on iPlayer, like Small Axe, which I think just covers like a bunch of different Jakes in the UK, and like basically just like different points of like racial tensions, different events that happened. Where it was like Jake's basically, you know, coming into England and being, you know, feeling that oppression, man, and then rebelling against it. Which is it's an old story, man. That shit's happened all the time. But just like what in Genesis it says, man, as a old lion, who shall rouse him up, man? Because at one point, Judah, really the head, was roused up, man. They're on that rebellious spirit. But they're gone to sleep, man. They've been lulled to sleep. Get that as well. Genesis 49 and 9 says, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Yeah, he's from the prey down, gone up. It's like, you know, as an old lion, who's going to rouse him up? Because Jake's basically been put to sleep. And a lot of that is just kind of Esau. It's something they did more in well, actually, no, they did it in the States as well. Over here and in the States, they kind of just started frying Jake a bone. Because it was like... they kind of like it started with Margaret Thatcher, where she kind of had, there was this Jake that they set up to kind of have like his own sneaker store or whatever. So he was kind of able to make money, and then they would just put as an example, like, yeah, see, look, you Jakes can make it too. You guys just need to work hard enough, or whatever the fuck the story, the narrative was that they were using. But then it come down to what with what you call it? Basically, with Jake, it's in reality that's just a very small you know group of people that basically they sell out, they get nice stuff, they get a deal, but then that's very few people that actually are dealing with that. By and large, most Jake are just on the bottom, barely getting by. The most they'll do is what 20, 30 years, and they might be able to just get like a house and a car and a family, and that's it. But then it's they're just gonna be grinding away, and that's the thing. It's with Jake. But then they put up those examples of those sellouts as well, just to kind of promote that mindset where Jake will be kind of chasing after or aspiring to be, some kind of famous rapper or actor or some kind of some kind of millionaire. But then what? It's really it's not a realistic, attainable goal for the vast majority, man. Majority of Jake are just barely getting by, and really a lot of them are just still being oppressed, man. Still being fucked up, still being thrown in jail. It's even the ones that make it, man. There was that video of remember the one of the black woman where she was, I think, the DA, defense attorney, and then she was driving, and then like a cop stopped her, and then said, "Oh, we ran your plates. It might be involved in a blah blah blah." It was just BSing, and then she obviously, because she works with the DA's office, she knew it was BS. Then it's like the whole time she's there, she's fuming. She's just like, "Yeah, you guys, what's your name? Give me your badge number. Tell me all that." Backing them up, it's funny still. And then they're just kind of like, "Oh, look, man, we just need to see your ID. Can you get?" She all complies. Then as soon as they check, they see, they're just like, "Oh," they call it. They're like, "We're so sorry, ma'am." It's well, even her, she was meant to be at the top. She's meant to have made it. She's meant to, she's meant to be in the upper echelons of society, man. She's meant to be beyond all that, get in trouble. But then what? Just because she's a black woman, she can't run from the curses, man. She's still getting fucked over, and then kicking up a fuss over it. But hey, that's the curses, man. Can't escape, and that's what Jake's really trying to do. They're trying to run from them curses, man. Funny as hell, them black women are experts at trying to run from the curses. So it says, verse 4, Jotham 4. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, on all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? Yeah, it's basically like if Esau's going to try and be like, okay, look, try and do some form of like reparations or whatever towards all the crimes that have been done against against the children of Israel, man, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They ain't gonna, that's what's that gonna, what kind of meaning is that gonna hold, man? When you deal with, that's what I was gonna grab. Okay. Numbers 35, 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Yeah, so it's blood defiles the land, and that's something like America. That's a massive amount of blood over an extended period of time, man. That's the amount of death and destruction that land's seen is immense, man. And it needs basically recompensing and then cleansing, man. Which is that's the missiles, man. That's why the missiles are going to be doing legendary work, man. Because it's mad. Like that's why it's like any kind of small little. That's even Jake saying like, oh, reparations, blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, that ain't really gonna mean shit in the grand scheme. And really, Esau ain't looking to pay no reparations. Like I said earlier, I said like Esau has these elites have more than enough money to kind of make, to try to make even a gesture to try and make things try and balance it out. Could give back land, could do all kinds of things. But Esau's got no interest, man. Esau's thinking about obliterating Jake off the face of the earth, man. That's what Esau's thinking about doing with Jake, man. Esau's thinking about completely fucking these over the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, man. Because hey, that's this guy. He's got no remorse, man. Says what? His spirit's not right. This guy, he's not repenting of all that he's done. He's basically just trying to run with it and not get judged and then try and do further wickedness, man. It's a madness still. So okay, so Zechariah 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Yeah, so the Lord's basically going to bring a scale of destruction that's never before been seen against these people, man, as a judgment. There's going to be people are going to be getting vaporized, man. Like the capability, the destructive capabilities of these nukes are on a level which hasn't even been experienced. And that's how fucked it is, man. That's how fucked it's going to get out here for those 2/3 in Esau, man, and the heathen that are all up in America. They're going to get jacked up, man. And then, as well, other places going to get hit. Israel's going to get hit. London's going to get hit. All kinds of places. Russia's going to get hit. The missiles are going to be doing what? And it's going to be peak. It's going to be a mess, man. Jacob going to be fucked. 2/3 of Jacob going to be fucked up. Esau's going to get fucked up. The Lord's really not playing. And this is what he's leading into, man. A level of destruction that's never before been seen. Will be seen again after, man. The earth's literally going to be shaken to and fro. So that's why people don't realize it's really not a game, man. That's why it's like what we're seeing at this stage. People getting messed up over, the C-19 situation. That means you guys ain't ready to experience how fucked it's going to get, man. That's why it's even women as well, because it's like really the ones I've seen that have been bugging out from the situation has been women mostly. Because what is it, Isaiah 32? Isaiah 32 says what? 32 and 2. Isaiah 32 and 2. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Yeah, so basically for the men are going to be the solid, basically the ones resisting against all this destruction, all this madness that's going to be going down. It's the men that are the Lord's gonna put the spirit on to resist. The men of Israel, man. Those men are the elect. They're gonna be the ones that are being built up. And it's really a thing where that's why it's like when it gets to, you know, the further troubles, then hey, people, women are really not going to be able to handle what's going to go down, man. It's going to get emotional. And it's the same thing. Whenever you get to any point of massive crisis, then it comes down to that brutal nature, man. That raw nature, where it just comes down to, because the thing is hey, men, it's only whilst, you know, this so-called you know, whilst there's what's the word, consequences to actions, that people don't really follow through on shit, man. Because like a lot of men will be grabbing up. Men already do grab up women on the street, even when there are recompenses. But then how much more so when there's not going to be any formal state of law, when it's just gone into straight anarchy. Then what? Hey, people are going to be grabbing, women are going to be grabbed. It's going to be fucked up. They're going to be what do you call it? They're gonna return to that. It's gonna return to the ancient state where women are just gonna be possessions, man. And they're gonna have to recognize that, man. And that's how it's gonna get fucked up. It's gonna be for men as well. Now you got it where it's promoted for men to be you know, to be soft, to be weak. You know, to be as far away from masculinity as possible. If you're trying to be, you know, you're trying to uphold the you know, the ancient masculinity, then they'll call, okay, nice, toxic masculinity. All this, Esau's basically not blacklisted. He's basically made it. He's stigmatized it. He's stigmatized you know, that masculinity, which is a core part of being a man of Israel, man. Being a Jake man. That basically, you know, upholding a certain level of masculinity, that just was natural, man. That was just how they deal, and that's just Jake's nature anyway, man. Jake men, they'll just be loud. They'll be, you know, they can be aggressive, not even in a violent way, just kind of in their nature and their actions, all these different things. And then Esau would just stigmatize it, make it like, oh, these guys are uncivil. These guys, you know, they're animals, they're monsters. You know, like you're some kind of beast. But then that's the natural state of men. And these things are going to become clear. The thing is this guy is going around fucking drone striking, annihilating people off the face of the earth, sending invasions, grabbing people's shit up. This guy is even more of a monster. But then he's basically trying to, you know, Esau's got a PR team, man. Esau controls that mass media. He's able to sell things. He can set up the image of, make it look like whatever he wants it to look like in his media, man. You go to Hollywood movies, you watch that shit, you really would think these soldiers that's going around just helping innocents, saving the world from some crazy whacked out terrorists. But then it's like, whoa, them whacked out terrorists, the guys you call them whacked out terrorists, you see some of these soldiers come through and probably rape their fucking mum, shot their dad, probably raped their dad too, shot their kids, shot the kids up, you know, blew some shit up, and then Donald Trump just pardoned them. It's a mess, man. This place is a fucking joke. That's why it's you know, people talking about this place like it's some form of righteousness or something. You know, there's something great about this place. That's complete lies, man. It's complete madness. And it's been revealed, man. It's been made evident and clear that this place is all about lies, all about robbery, deceit, criminal acts, man. That's why, you know, people are, the fuck is this nigga's name, man? Epstein, man. Jeffrey Epstein. All talking about, who was on Epstein's list, who's flying with Epstein. These guys, they throw out one or two, they throw out like Prince Andrew, they throw out a few people that might have been there. And then imagine with Prince Andrew, it come out, it was bait as hell, there's images, all that. This guy just said like, oh yes, no, this guy did TV interviews and shit. And then he's, you know, there's still no accountability held. He's just, okay, he's gone out of the public spotlight, but he's still living off the, you know, the taxes of the people, man. It's hilarious as hell. And what? Who's doing anything? Who's even able to do anything? That shows this place is a mess, man. This place is a joke. These guys, you know, people out here thinking like, okay, you know, they think this whole system of democracy, like their vote counts, or they have some say in the government. These guys ain't had What the hell are you talking about, man? You guys, like, when what's her name, Theresa May came in, who the fuck voted her in, man? This is why it's like the whole thing is a mess, man. People out here don't know what's going on. They're not clued up, and they've been taken for a ride. I'm gonna take you for a ride. Okay, so what was I gonna do? Okay, Isaiah 13 and 12, it says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the gold and wedge of Ophir. Yeah, so the man's going to be made as precious as fine, more precious than fine gold. And that's that refinement, man. That's that refinement. Which you're getting in the Apocrypha. Was it Sirach to... Yeah. What was it? More precious than a golden wedge of Ophir, man. So basically, men are are being tried in the fire, man. That's the basically the men of Israel, the men of the elect. They're being built up. They're basically being put through different levels of tribulation, so that they're built up, refined, man, through the process of time, man, and experiences. But that's what's gonna give us, a hopeful elect, give us the capability to endure when that time comes, man. Because if you look at now, it's like what the vast majority of Jake that are out here, what they're doing, they're soft, they're pleasure seeking, they ain't really looking for any kind of hardness, man. They're basically just trying to enjoy all the carnal pleasures that the Babylon has to offer, which is why they got an investment in it, man. But what the men of the hopeful elect, men of the elect, are basically being refined, man. They're being put through hardships. You have your family come against you. You might lose your job. You might have various other hardships you have to deal with because of being in this truth. Not just because you're a fucking nigger or something, man. You go around fucking a bunch of different women or some shit, a bunch of different men's women, and then afterward these guys out have got a fucking a bounty on your head. That's called being a wicked piece of shit, man. It's not that. It's basically through clinging on to this truth, striving in this